All right, we are live. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Sunday. My name is Chris, and this is my channel, We Love Comics. And as promised from yesterday's video announcement, I would show you the 4 books I am sending to PGX to get graded. If you're not familiar with this program, I have been working with PGX unofficially for over 8 years now, since about 2017 or 2018. I'd have to look it up to see exactly when. But always disclose I do not get paid by PGX. I have no contract signed, so I am under no obligation to say anything other than my experience with the company. But the deal I have with them is they allow me to send in 4 books every single month. I can get them obviously graded, but pressed and dry cleaned because PGX has in-house pressings and dry cleanings. Signature verification if need be. They also have in-house signature verification and also adding grader's notes to the actual back of the slab, which was my idea. And Daniel Patterson was kind enough to implement that. Um, I just love doing that, and I wish all grading companies would do it. And it cost me $50 to get them all done, and plus whatever shipping it costs for me to send the books out there. So I love doing this. I've been doing it once a month now, like I said, for at least 8 years. And I technically have 5 books this month because for the first time in 8 years, the last 4 books that I got, one of the cases was cracked. So I'll show that one as well. They'll just obviously just put it in a new case. Luckily, nothing happened to the comic, but one time in 8 years, I have no problem with that. So, as usual, while I'm waiting for people to come in, I want to let you know if you've never used PGX before and you'd like to give them a try, if you send 10 or more books to PGX and you include the code We Love Comics Free Press, they will press one of your comics for free. I would highly recommend telling them which one you would like to be pressed. Otherwise, they'll just randomly pick one. So use that code We Love Comics Free Press. And if you want to add the greatest notes onto the back of the slab, which again, my idea, and I absolutely love that they implemented this. It's $5 per slab, and again, it's use the code We Love Comics Graders Notes, and you have to write that in on the invoice because unless you're a We Love Comics subscriber or viewer, you won't see that because they don't even put it on their website. So make sure you indicate that on your invoice. And again, it's $5, and the code is We Love Comics Graders Notes. So let's give a shout out to my paid Patreon members. We have 13 members. If you'd like to join and support my channel, you can go to patreon.com/. We Love Comics. Dollar amount is not necessary as far as, thinking you have to put in $20 or $50 or something like that. You could do the bare minimum, which is $2 for anybody's Patreon account, and I'll be grateful. And I never mention what somebody contributes because that's their business and I wouldn't share that. So if you want your name out there, every video, just join at patreon.com/. We Love Comics. So let's shout out to Sith Lord, Michael B, Kevin W, Dan L, Herbert R, Annabelle N, Jason B, Kim N, newest of my Patreon members, Blessed. Thank you as always. And then the last 4, and I could do this for anybody. If instead of just your name, if you want me to share your YouTube channel or your social network or even your own business, if you have a website you'd like me to promote instead, just let me know when you sign up, and I'll have no problem with doing that. So, shout out on YouTube to Kendall Kid Comics, on Instagram, Scott WU077, on Facebook, Stephen L. Turk Author, and then last but not least, on Instagram, once again, Silver Age Surfer _comics. And I have a giveaway that normally, if I get 20 paid members, there's giveaways that I quote unquote give away. But I'm doing a special thing that I'm doing if I get at least 20 paid members by the end of this month, which is February 2025. I'm giving away, I think it's from either 1976 or 1977, an X-Men issue number 97 in about a fine, very fine grade with a value of about $200 to $250 to one of my Patreon members. And if I can get to 30 paid members by the end of that month, I'll do 2 contests. One for the comic book, and the other for one of the unopened baseball card packs. So if you want to join, again, is the minimum to join it is the minimum to join anybody's Patreon, which is $2 a month. But you'll get one entry for every $2 that you put in. So the more you put in, the more chances you get. All right, so let's show the books. These are the 4 books I'm going to send in. I'll show the 5th one because, again, like I said, for the first time in 8 years, the case got cracked. So I will be sending in, it got cracked all the way across, which is a shame, but it did not hurt the comic. So this is actually a very rare book in this grade. This is Vortex number 5. It's a 9.8, and it is signed by Matthew Martin, who wrote the story. 9.8 with white pages. I've only seen one of these in a 9.8, but this one's not only a 9.8, it's signed. So this is a pretty rare book. This is actually the first appearance of Cyberfrog, which they do not mention. So I'm actually going to put, yeah, I did write that I put that the first appearance of Cyberfrog not mentioned. I always put notes on back of slabs if I think they need them, because I don't want any grading company to assume something. So, for example, if you're sending a book that has loose staples, you know, put a little note on the back of the bag and board saying, please be careful removing comic staples barely hanging on. Because a person that's taking these out is not going to know that. And without any notation, they're not going to change how they might pull them out quickly because they're in a hurry. But if they see that you wrote, staples barely hanging on, please handle with care, they might actually take a little bit more effort to delicately remove the comic. So any information that you could provide for them is going to be not only helping them, but helping you in the long run. So this one's just going to get resent in to get a new case. Very happy with this. I paid only, where is it? Give me a second. I paid $6.99 for this book. And the signature, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, is right there. There you go. It's right there. So 9.8 of this book signed. Absolutely looking forward to that. I mean, Cyberfrog obviously isn't a major character or anything like that, but who knows? You never know. At one time, I remember when I was a kid, when a ex-girlfriend of mine was telling me that she was reading Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1. Well, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I was like, what the heck is that garbage? If I only knew then what I know now, but I would never suggest that Cyberfrog is on any level of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but hey, it could go in that direction someday, or it might go in the direction of the adolescent radioactive mutant squirrels or whatever they were. If you remember what those were, if you remember that book, Adolescent Radioactive, was it the squirrels or some kind of thing like that? If you can remember, put it in the live chat if you're live or in the comments section. So let's get into the 4 books. Now, this is a series I've highly recommended for a couple of years. They are confirming that there will be this as an Avengers movie soon. Of course, anything can change, so nothing is guaranteed until it's out there. So, this series is issue 0 through 13. This is Avengers versus X-Men. There's a lot of variants out there where there's ones where it's half colored and half black and white, and some that are black and white. I think those are either 1 in 100s or 1 in 500s. If you can find those, pick them up. Uh, this whole set that I bought years ago, and I'm sending in one of the issues every month because, like I said, PGX does signature verification. Each book has between 5 and 6 signatures on every one from issue 0 to 13. So, Avengers vs. X-Men, this is issue number 6. This one actually has 6 signatures on it. It has Oliver Copiel, Jimmy Chung, Jason Aaron, Matt Fraction, Laura Martin, and Jonathan Hickman. So you could see all of the different signatures on here. Each one, I say, is between a 9.4 to 9.8. The majority of them have come back 9.8s. One or two either did 9.6 or 9.4s. But I'm completely happy with the majority of them so far being 9.8, so this will probably not be an exception, but I don't want to rule out the possibility it could be a 9.4, 9.6, or a 9.8. Even if I think a book is a 9.8, unless it looks so perfect that I think it might hit a 9.9 or something like that. I usually don't say 9.8. I usually go between 9.4 and 9.8. But I paid $16.89 for each of these books. So to get the whole entire set eventually done, all graded between, like I said, between 9.4 and 9.8s, with 5 to 6 signatures on every single book, especially if there ends up an X-Men versus Avengers movie, which they're saying there is going to be one. That series is going to do very well for me. So, of course, with white pages on that one. This is one, it's not rare, but it is rarer. And I always recommend people try and get rarer versions of books because then you can save yourself a lot of stress of hearing people all the time telling you, oh, that book has so many prints, it's not worth getting. Well, if you can get different versions of that book, you're just going to do better. And this is one of them. So I remember having this book when I was a kid. This isn't mine. I threw mine out years ago because I didn't think that was going to have value. Because this is Wizard number one. It's just, it's a price guide. But Wizard was so popular, I guess eventually people see them as now collectibles. And I wish I would have saved my original one, but hey, it is what it is. But this one is a rarer newsstand variant. So the regular version will not have the barcode. So if you have one with the barcode on the bottom here, you have a newsstand variant, which like I said, it's not rare, but it is definitely rarer. Now I paid I paid $121.90 for this. You do have to make sure if you have any version of this comic, make sure it has the poster intact because many of these you may not know um, had the posters removed. And if you didn't check the book or did not know about the poster and you send it in to get graded to any grading company, you're going to get a green label that says incomplete. And that's one of the things I talk about constantly about having knowledge about what you're collecting, even if you're just reading them. I mean, the majority of people, I would assume, that are getting the books graded is doing it for financial reasons or, to safely encapsulate their comic. They're not buying them to read them and then encapsulating them because then you can't read them unless you crack it open. This one has like a line, a little bit of some color breaks along the very edge, but I don't know how much they'll ding that for. So I'm going to do a little bit wider of a range. That's the only problem that I see with this book. Other than that, it's in pretty good condition. So I'm going to give it a range between like a 9.0 and a 9.4, and we'll see what happens with this. But again, newsstand variant, absolutely worth getting. And this, of course, has white pages, and it does have the poster intact. So again, if you have books like that, make sure you have the knowledge, like things like, for example, Batman 181, First Poison Ivy. It has a centerfold poster, and many people have taken them out. So if you don't know that that's not, if that's there, you can end up screwing yourself big time, spending a lot of money on a book only to find out it's a qualified grade. So knowledge is power. I want to stress that to people all the time. This is a book I've had for years, and I just opened it about a month or two ago. Um, you could probably see on my shelves, or I talk about it all the time. I literally have hundreds of boxes. Well, most of them are like the Gemini mailers and stuff of comics I ordered over the years that I've never opened for whatever reasons. Now, Mega Key books, I'm going to open right away. But this is one that I left in the box for years, and it's a gorgeous book. And especially with Doctor Doom coming, to me, this is a no-brainer to send in. This is Avengers number 25. Now, Mylar is going to make it look that much nicer, but even outside of the Mylar, this is a gorgeous looking book. Now, I paid only $107 for this. Now, the seller said they thought it was at least a 7.5. I look at this book and I'm like, I think a lot of people that sell on eBay, for the most part, who know about grades, will tend to lower the grade. So this way, somebody doesn't say, oh, I think it's a 7.5, and somebody gets a grade and it's a 4.0. I'm sure most smart sellers would probably say it's under. So this way, if it's that grade or higher, people are going to be happy and not mad. But I definitely think that's the case on this one. I think this is absolutely better than a 7.5, but we'll find out. I'm predicting about an 8.0 to a 9.2 off-white to white pages. This is such a great looking cover with Doctor Doom basically looking down at the Avengers. And again, with Doctor Doom coming, if you can't afford the first appearance of Doctor Doom, which is Fantastic Four #5, this is a comic that you can get that's fairly affordable. But again, when you're talking comics in higher grades, you're going to pay a lot more money. But this book is probably about $400 or $500 book, depending on the grade. So to pay only 107, definitely, good timing on that one. All right, last but not least, if you watched my videos yesterday, you're going to know what this book is. I was originally going to send in this one this month, the showcase #4. But this one, it has no front cover, but it has a back cover. And they included this facsimile cover, which I would send with them to put it into the slab. But I know that's going to come back a 0.5. So it's not like I could be pleasantly surprised and find out the book's a 2 or something like that. So I figure I'll send that one next month. And I got a story that I learned. So I want to give an extra special shout out to Silver Surfer at Silver Surfer _comics on Instagram. He sent me a message saying about how my book is actually fairly rare, and he explained the situation, and I'm going to explain that to you because I never knew about this, and I'm sure many of you may not have, which means the ones that do know about it, when they're buying these books and they look for those specific things, are actually going to benefit from that knowledge. So I learned something last night. So again, shout out to Silver Age Surfer _comics for this information. So the book I'm sending in, I cracked it open last night. This book is going to get a major bump in grade from what I saw for the defects. If you want to know about that in further detail, I did a second video last night around 1 o'clock in the morning that talks about what I found when I cracked this open. So if you want to learn about that, go check out that video. But I paid only with shipping and handling, which actually was free. With taxes, I got this book for 5,350. Now this was in, and I'll show the label because I'm going to keep that. It was a 3.5 with off-white pages. Now, when I took this out of the slab, because I'm never afraid to take a chance, and I'm absolutely glad I did, because the defects I could not see until I actually took it out, not only from the plastic slab, but the plastic around it that it was being held in. There are so many pressable defects that could be fixed on this book. My prediction now is going to be between a 5.5 and a 6.5 grade, and I would not be shocked if it came back higher than that. It will depend on the pressing, and I will give you my opinion. With my 8 years of experience with PGX, their pressings are amazingly well done. I have the utmost confidence that this book is going to be pressed out perfectly. Now, I want to show you two things that Silver Age Surfer _comics pointed out to me that I was not aware of, and is a big deal with this book. They said this book was cut when it was in production wrong, like poorly, to the point where if you look at where it says Iron Man, you'll notice right here there are quotes. The majority of the books will have on this side either no quotes or show one of them. So it's not trimmed or anything if you don't see it. It's just a factory. They cut them bad. So this one has both quotes in it. And there's a second thing that he pointed out, that the bottom was always cut wrong. So if you look at this, I'm trying to do it with the light. Let me move this. If you look at the bottom of this, you'll notice this blue. See, he's got like these are all him with on a table. The bottom has blue exposed. Most of the books were cut to where you can't see the blue at all. Now, he was telling me there are some books that have either one or the other, but very few books that have both. So the fact that I have the double quotes and also have the blue showing on the bottom is a rarer book. Now, to verify this, I went to see every Tales of Suspense #39 for sale, other than coverless ones, because then, you can't do anything with that. Of the 53 books currently for sale, only 15 of them have at least one or the other. In other words, either has the two quotes or has the bottom blue. And some of those of the 15 barely had it. And the there were only 7 books of the 53 that had both. And again, a few of those barely had it. So the fact that this book has the double quotes right there, as you can see, there are some where the cut goes right to the exclamation point. There are some where you could see one quote, but not both. And the fact that it has the blue at the bottom of the table, because again, they would cut it to where it would be, you know, only the table exposed. This is a book that is centered basically perfectly. So that was awesome to know. Now, of course, it has some minor fading, the top and the bottom, so that's not going to knock down this grade too much. The beautiful thing is about learning about other things is that I've learned because of spectrums of light due to ultraviolet rays of the sun, colors in the color spectrum like blue will not fade in the sunlight. You could put this in the sun, and I wouldn't recommend, a book like this because, somebody could steal it or it could get wet or whatever. But blue will never fade. But colors like yellow, red, and orange will absolutely fade. So the fact that this cover is like 90, I say 85% gray, white, black, and blue, which are colors and shades that will not be affected by sunlight. Only the box around the suspense and only the box at the bottom got minor fading due to somebody at some point, whether it was a comic book store or a personal collector, putting it most likely up on the wall where sunlight was hitting it over the years. So if this book would have been like, for example, New Mutants 87, that's either a bright orange or a light red color, and that had sun damage, the whole book would look like that. But even with a book that's completely faded, not to the point where you can't see anything, but if an entire cover was done like this, you could still get a 6.0, between a 5 and a 6 with that book. But because this one's partially um, done, to me, I cannot wait to get this one. As a matter of fact, I am going to call Daniel from PGX, and I want to see how much he would charge me to fast track this one particular book, because I really honestly don't want to wait 2 months, month and a half to get this one back. So if I have to pay whatever extra amount to get this fast tracked and maybe come back in a week or a week and a half by itself and, use the regular time for the other books, I'm going to see if he'll let me do that. I'm sure he'll work something out with me. They've always been good to me. But I am so excited about this book that I cannot wait. I don't want to wait 2 months. So if this book got a 6.5 or a 6.0, you're talking about a 17 to $20,000 book that I paid $5,350 for. And that's one of the reasons why I tell people all the time, know what you're looking to buy, know their value, know about pressings and dry cleanings, and knowing that a lot of people, especially when you're talking expensive books, may not have the funds to not only grade the book, which they're going to ask, I think, for about 5% of the total value as the grading fee, but then to add God knows how many hundreds of dollars extra just to get it pressed and dry cleaned. Some people may think, spending $600 to get a book pressed, dry cleaned, and graded is just not worth it. Or many people just don't know that even is an option, or just don't want to do it for whatever reason. Um, you can get bumps. Now, some of them may be zero point 0.5 different, some might be 1 different, but this book is going to have such a huge bump in grade because of the problems that it has that are totally fixable. And again, if you want to go into the full details of that, check out the video I did last night. So like I said, this was bought at a 3.5, which even for the price I paid for it as a 3.5 was a great deal. And before I even knew about the double quotes and the blue under the table showing, meaning it's a perfectly cut book. Um, uh, uh, if it came back a 4.0, I'd still be thrilled. But I really think conservatively, it's going to come back between a 5.5 and a 6.5 range. We'll see what they say with the pages. CGC said off-white, so we'll see what PGX thinks when they get it. So those are the four books. I am really excited about that one. And I want to keep reminding people, don't give up on your dreams. To acquire a book like this, I mean, I'm 54 years old, so it took me 54 years to finally get the first Iron Man. It took me the past 7 years of my strategy, which I have a video that I did earlier this week, talking about my shared secrets and how you could do it too. But it took me about 7 years of slowly upgrading my comics, selling them at a profit because I always look for deals for books and upgrading and upgrading and upgrading. It took me about 7 years to go from the decent collection I had to the amazing collection I'm starting to have. I see other YouTubers that are doing stuff like that as well. But again, it does take time. You have to have patience. You have to have knowledge. You have to not be afraid to take chances. Like, for example, cracking this book open. I don't play it safe. I trust my instincts and I don't live in fear. If you do that, you're going to be very conservative about things and you're just never going to succeed in the way you'd like because you're not afraid, you're too afraid to take risks. I mean, don't take unnecessary or dangerous risks, obviously, but, you know, trust your instincts. So that's all I'm going to say about that. So if you know what quote that's from, put that in the comments section. Let me know what you think about the AI art. And let's say hi to everybody in the live chat. And since there's not many people here right now, you're all going to be today's surprise subscriber shout outs. So to be in the surprise subscriber shout out, you don't even have to be a subscriber. But if you want to hit subscribe, that's great, or the like button. But you just have to have a comment in the live chat. So Douglas Boggs, Corey Knight, long time no see. RJ McReady. Um, he says, how much did you pay for that book? I paid with taxes, I paid $5,350 for the book. So even if it was just a 3.5 and there was nothing that could be fixed, look on eBay right now. People are selling 2.0s for 7 grand. So I got this way under its current value. And when this comes back, I cannot wait to see what the grade bump is going to be. But there's absolutely going to be a major grade bump. And again, I did a video last night explaining all of the details of it, even going into the grader's notes. So check out that video if you're interested in it. RJ McReady says, well, he says, sorry, came late. No, never apologize. He also says, still looks good despite the fading. Absolutely. That's what I love about this cover. This cover is very plain. There's not a lot of colors in it. And luckily, the major colors besides the red were the blue, and again, blue does not get affected by the ultraviolet rays of the sun. So only a little bit of it got faded, but the rest of it stands out. So I'm perfectly fine with that. I mean, who wouldn't want one with the bright red? But hey, you take what you can get. I'm not one of those people that complains about stuff. I appreciate it. So to me, I don't focus on the faded parts. I focus on the parts that weren't faded. So, is it Otmi or Otmo? I'm not sure, forgive me, or is it OTMI and you just spell it that way? It says, how is CBCS pressing and cleaning service? Is it still worth sending books to them? Um, I've only sent books to CBCS once, and that was before I even knew that pressings and dry cleanings were a thing. So I would be the wrong person to ask about that. If anyone in the comments section wants to put their opinion, if they have their experience with CBCS, by all means, please do. But unfortunately, back in 2017, I sent books to CGC and CBCS, and I never even knew that pressing was a thing at that time. So now I know, but I haven't used their service since because I have that deal with PGX. So I send all my books to them every time. And also on occasion, which I have to start doing, I think next month I could start doing it again. A shout out to EGS Comics. Tony, the owner of EGS, was actually in the live chat last night. It was nice to see him, so shout out to him. So if you ever want to try EGS comic grading service, please do. He allows me to send in 2 books every month. I just haven't had the ability to do it in the past couple of months. I'm going to start that up again soon. So RJ McReady says, "Yep, 2.0 is selling for 5,300 on eBay recently." Yeah, and Iron Man's going to be coming back to the MCU soon because they're going to be doing a reboot after Secret Wars, and there are rumors that Tony Stark is going to be in Secret Wars. I mean, rumors and what happens are two different things, so you never know. But I would not be shocked that they don't bring him back to play a different variant in the Secret Wars saga. And then from there, they do a soft reboot, and they'll absolutely have Iron Man in part of the Avengers. So that book is just on, it's going to be on a rise. So if you have the opportunity to even get a coverless version of this book, get it now while you could still get it. Because the book, you're probably never going to see these prices for probably decades again, in my opinion. So, GTK comic also, and Corey got it right. Corey Knight. I'm not going to reveal it just in case if somebody's watching and they want to guess on what that little phrase was. But Corey Knight, you got that right. And also GTK comic. He's on every video, and I love him for it. And he's one of my moderators. So. You guys were all today's surprise subscriber shout out. So thank you very much. Don't forget, guys, if you want to support my channel, just go on to patreon.com/. We Love Comics. You'll get your name up on the board and a shout out every single video. And like I said, if I get to 20 paid members by the end of this month, February of 2025, I'm going to be giving away to one of my paid members a issue, X-Men issue number 97, the first Moira McTaggart in about an 8085 grade, and between a $200 and $250 value. So hopefully people will join my Patreon. And as you could see right here, um, $2 is the minimum to get in because that's what it requires to join anybody's Patreon account. But you'll get one entry for every $2 you put in. So if you put in 10, you get 5 entries. You put in 4, you get 2 entries, and so on and so forth. So hopefully you'll support my channel, which helps the money. 95% of that money goes to helping support the stray cats that I take care of outside where I live by feeding them, putting them in, giving them medicines and vet bills and stuff like that if they need it. Cat supplies to keep them cold, warm in the summer, warm in the winter and cool in the summer. Blah blah blah, yada yada yada. So if you want to help support, the money pretty much goes towards helping me to help those animals. So it's really appreciated. So, again, if you want to critique the AI art, please do. Thank you all for taking the time to watch my video. And don't forget, it's not you, it is not I, it is We Love Comics. Enjoy the rest of your day, and don't forget to have your trolls spayed or neutered. Talk to you soon, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.